Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Factory. Today I got a treat, as always, my man Wes Schaeffer in the building. He's widely known as the Sales Whisperer, and he's the author of The Sales Whisperer Way. Dude's got decades of experience in sales, marketing, automation, and biz dev. Wes helps entrepreneurs and sales teams create predictable revenue through disciplined systems, consistent follow-up, and proven closing strategies. His approach blends traditional sales fundamentals with modern tech. You guys know I love that. And he's always focused on building scale and repeatable growth. So, Wes, thanks for coming on the Sales Factory, my man.
Dude, I need to have you do all my intros.
I get that often. So,
Are you like a UFC guy? Do you fill in, ladies and gentlemen?
for Rogan, man. Yeah. One of these days, man. No, dude, I'm super passionate about helping entrepreneurs. They're my people, dude. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. My senior year of high school, I turned down a bunch of football scholarships and started mowing grass. And, 20 years later, here we are. So, but I'm excited to have you on, man, because it's called the Sales Factory. And a lot of our guests are just now hearing this on our last couple episodes we wrap up. But we're going to put a lid on this. 10 years, man, I've been doing the Sales Factory podcast. So you're one of our last guests. I'm excited to have you, man. Let's bring some fire and energy today. I want to hop right into this thing and make sure we're providing a ton of value. Where do you see a lot of entrepreneurs, businesses screwing up right now where they're trying to match the worlds of sales and technology?
Where they're trying to match it?
Yeah, like they're trying to plug these two together, right? They're trying to figure out, you talk about automation and things like that. It's like, dude, I just last year I had a client that was a big, massive HVAC company, had 9,000 people on their email list. I said, how often you email them? They're like, we've never emailed them. I'm like, what
Never.
the fuck?
Yeah.
When you talk about trying to take sales and technology and put those together, where do you see most entrepreneurs and businesses screwing that up, man?
Well, dude, technology changes, but at the end of the day, there's still a human on the other end of the screen. And you've got to convince that human to trust you, have the confidence to buy from you. And I know somebody's going to listen to this. Well, I've got an AI agent that's doing my buying for me. I'm like, okay. That AI agent is still somebody's programming it, somebody's giving it instructions, somebody's prompting it. And we we overestimate the power of these tools. I've always said I help entrepreneurs deliver a powerful message in a powerful manner.
Mm.
Okay. So, but what is your powerful message? AI can get you close. And look, honestly, for most people that aren't doing this, that won't pay anybody to do it, having an AI agent, Claude, whatever, it's going to give you better content than what you can create on your own. Okay. For the average user. And so the problem becomes, you remember back in the day when WordPress was so popular, and when it was kind of new. I mean, 2009, 10, 11, somewhere in there, 2012, and like when a popular WordPress theme would come out, like everybody would get that theme.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were in the business, you would know, oh, that's the executive, VIP-2, theme. And so AI kind of has that look already. I mean, you can see a website looks like AI made it. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. But when your messaging sounds like everyone else's, when your website looks like everyone else's, you're back to the same problem. The only way a prospect can differentiate between you and your competition when you look and sound like them is on price. So now you're back to the same thing, selling on price, losing on price. So you've got to remember there's a human on the other end of the screen. Everybody says, well, I zig when the market zags. I think outside the box. And it's like, the hell you do.
Mm.
Everybody's doing the same stuff. They're wearing the same clothes, driving the same cars, using the same tools, building the same websites. People are afraid to step out and to stand up and stand out, right? And so they're just using these tools to look like everyone else, So how are you connecting with the human on the other end of the screen? That is still foundational and fundamental, and
I like
people
that.
still get that wrong.
So let me ask you this then, because we eliminated all of our SDRs at the beginning of the year because Allie, our AI platform that we've built, I built an SDR component. We don't. That's not external. Customers can't use it. We only use it inside because I think outbound using AI for outbound is very risky because of edge cases, right? Like I like to say that my daughter, she's 3. She just turned 3 a couple weeks ago. She's half Disney princess, half Johnny Knoxville, right? And so if I'm on the phone and she's climbing up the back of the couch and I'm talking to an AI agent and I say, hey, get down off of there, that's an edge case. The AI agent's going to have no idea. But if I'm talking to Wes Schaeffer, you're going to be like, you're not telling me to get down. You're just like, hey, something's going on in the background, right? And so it doesn't have that large enough context window. However, from a text messaging standpoint, man, we've had a really good luck with it just banging out text messages on our lead flow that have come in, right? They've opted into a tripwire, some type of a lead magnet, and Allie will text you every single freaking day. And the problem I was having with my SDRs is like, dude, that's like aggressive. It's too much. You know what I mean? Like salespeople, they want to say, I don't want to push. But like, dude, the ones that push, the ones that fight, the ones that are like, look, man, just tell me yes or no. I don't really give a shit which way you go with it. I just want to know sooner rather than later so I don't have to chase you forever. Like, I don't get any pushback from Allie, right? She's like sending text messages, follow up with these people every single day. So, what's your thoughts on like the timid salesperson being replaced? Now, I get it. If you're a hunter, right? My book's The Hunter Head Game. I talk about that. Like, if you're a hunter and you're a killer and you're in the top 3% of salespeople, like, dude, you're always going to have a job. That's not going to be a problem. But what do you think about AI eating up the bottom, kind of the bottom 20% of the sales producers that are out there?
Well, technology always gets rid of the bottom.
Ooh,
You know,
I like
dude,
that one.
the frickin' loom. It got rid of the worst seamstresses or whatever cloth manufacturers.
Mm,
I mean, it just is. This is no different, man. You know, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but I mean, I grew up without a computer. And so I remember computers coming out, desktop publishing. The book industry is going to go out of business. Well, how many people have written their own book on their own? I mean, give me a break.
yeah,
Email is going to put the postal service out of business. Really? How's that
yeah.
working out? I mean, come on. Oh, the airplanes are going to put the automobile industry out of business. Like, really? I mean,
It's the extremes, right? Like, and it's like
yeah.
I don't think the extremes either way, right? It's not like there aren't going to ever be salespeople anymore, right? And then the extreme too is like, man, I've had a lot of conversations in the last few weeks where people are like, the AI is not that good, and it's like, it's because you got the free Chat GPT plan and you don't think that it's that impressive, but it's like, dude. Open up the backend API and then build you some customized software to utilize and harness this technology and pay for it. And like you quickly realize what's possible, man. It's a pretty wild world that
People
we're living
don't.
in.
Yeah, they still don't know, man. This is. I just went to this mastermind a couple of weeks ago on AI specifically, and I was telling people, and I was probably well, there might have been one or two older guys than me, but I'm now the old guy in the room. But I said this feels like about maybe 1998. We are early in this game still.
Yeah.
I didn't have my own website that I could edit and use until like 2009.
Wow.
Okay, and um, so let's say in 1998 you paid 5 grand, 10 grand, I don't know, 15 grand for
Yeah.
a little
50 grand.
five-page
Like, that's because you had a small pool of people that could even build a website back
that
then,
could
right?
even build it, right? And so and they were hard coding it, with Adobe Dreamweaver. You couldn't edit it, okay, and I saw all this happening. And I was in sales where companies. I didn't have a need to build a website. I didn't see it back then, right? And so let's say you spent 15 grand in 1998, and then 2010 rolls around. You got WordPress. You can install your own WordPress. Okay, did you waste that money? Being a decade earlier than your competition by having a website? And it's like, but I'm not kidding. I made a post yesterday from based on a text I sent to two of my buddies. the night before, and I said, I'm legit freaking out. You know, a year ago, a respected guy I was in talks with wanted to charge me $65,000 to build an app, and I almost paid him, but I held off, and I built a more complex app than that 2 weeks ago on a weekend
Yeah, man.
for like $200.
Yep. Did you use Lovable? What'd you use?
No, I used a beta program inside of a tool called Mind Studio.
Okay.
Um, but now I have access to a software developer who helped me um, prompt it, oversee it. So if I did it on my own, maybe it would have taken a week to
Still,
get it.
like, it's
So we, having a guy available that works for me, he supercharged that. So and it's just, but and it seems overwhelming, and it is. Okay, but it's like learning jujitsu. It's overwhelming. You walk in, you think you're a badass, and then some 150 pound, 60-year-old guy abuses you.
it puts you on your head and
No,
chokes you out.
and you're like, what the hell just happened? And then they do it again, and they do it again in front of everybody. And you're like, I can never learn this. Like, you absolutely can learn this. I got so beat up for so many years in jujitsu, uh, but you got to just show up, and you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. Like, you've got to jump in,
Mm-hmm.
and start figuring this stuff out. But people don't think in terms of systems and processes. And
Yeah.
I've been doing this. Like in 2008, I was selling Infusionsoft, and I became one of their top resellers in the world. Became a gold partner with HubSpot.
In
I got certified
2008?
2008.
Jeez, man. Yeah, you were early on that.
Back then, Infusionsoft was $5,000 down and $299 a month for 5 licenses, and that was the only flavor it came in. There was no there was no phone support after 5 p.m., no weekend support, no chat support, no Facebook group, no drag and drop builder. Okay. I had well, back then I only had 6 kids, and we had another. So 7 kids,
You got
wife.
7 kids?
I've got 7 kids. I got 4 grandkids now
Holy
as
smokes.
well. And so I had to make that stuff work. Okay. And so I dove in. And then by 2012, I wrote a 700-page book on Infusionsoft.
Wow.
So in 4 years, I went from not having a website, not having a merchant account, not being able to even embed a web form, to writing a book on the subject. In 2013, I was their partner of the year.
Wow.
And so, but I had to figure this stuff out. Okay. So you need to treat these AI tools the same, but these are not stupid parlor tricks. Okay. I carry this around as a little icebreaker, my little magic trick, right? Like, ooh, look at this. Look, you see the ball? See the ball? Okay, look, I'm gonna put the ball in my pocket. So look, nothing at my sleeves. Put the ball. You hear it? Look, it's bouncing on the table. It's over here. You hear that? Okay, it's over there. Now I take the lid, put it back. Abracadabra, hocus pocus. Poof! There's the ball. Where'd the ball come from? Oh my gosh! I'll never tell you. Okay? I mean, this is a 25-cent little magic trick you can get. All right. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like making, an airplane disappear. You got to figure out real magic with this stuff. Uh, but see, most entrepreneurs are not really entrepreneurs. Michael Gerber talked about it in the E Myth.
Great book.
And and the E Myth is it's a myth that you think you're an entrepreneur. It says most people are just technicians
Yep.
with sporadic random fits of entrepreneurism. Okay. And it's true. And so because when you start asking them about systems and processes and SOPs and they don't have it, they just wing it. They just are good at what they do and they just kind of bump along, they figure it out. But now it's like, how do you scale? Well, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Well, good luck with that. Although now you kind of can. You can build some agents that can run and do the things you want to do in the way you want them done.
Yeah. The
Okay.
game's
But do you,
changing, man.
yeah, but do you have the knowledge? Do you have the patience? Can you take the time out? But just like with Infusionsoft, man, people would ask me, "Hey, how long is it? How long before we're up and running?" And I'd say, and I knew what they were asking, but it was a dumbass question. So dumbass questions get dumbass answers. Okay, and they'd say, "How long before I'm up and running?" I go, "Oh, about 25 minutes." What? Really? Go, yeah, about 25 minutes. I'll build you a web form, kind of a contact us. We'll create the fields. We'll put the person into your CRM. We'll tag them. We'll send them a thank you email, and we'll assign a task to you or somebody on your team to call them back. And they're like, "Oh, well, I mean, that's not really. Oh, you're asking how long will it take to automate your entire business so you can make money while you sleep and make those selfies with your foot in a pool in an infinity pool in Thailand with a laptop next to you?" I'm like, yeah, I said, if you work harder than you've ever worked in your entire life for 90 days, you will build a foundation upon which you could get to that point in maybe another year.
Hmm.
Are you up for that challenge? Because I can help you get there, but your fingertips are going to be bleeding, your eyeballs are going to be bloodshot, your ass is going to be sore from sitting in that chair and grinding, building stuff out, testing sequences, building multimedia, multi-step sequences, plugging in third-party tools, testing things, refining them. I'm like, are you up for that? Oh, well, oh, I
Yeah, that
thought it
was
was
back
just all
before
in one
Chat
software.
GPT, before Chat
Oh,
GPT could write all the copy for you.
oh, yeah, exactly. And so, but people that bit the bullet, even if they didn't get to that point, I would tell them, I'd say, look, we're going to take one of your important things or one of your irritating things, and we're going to build a workflow that automates most or all of it. And I said, let's say, just using round numbers, let's say it takes 8 hours to build that first campaign, but I'm going to build it with you. I'm going to show you how to do it, and it'll be up and running. And that thing will save you, 1 to 2 hours a day forever. We'll fix a process. Said now, so now here's what happens. Let's say it. So it takes us 8 hours over the course of a week to build this one thing. So now, starting in week two, you're saving 30 minutes a day on that task. Well, there's 2.5 hours a week. You're now getting back forever.
Mm-hmm.
So after, 3 to 4 more weeks, you have a
Net
positive
positive.
ROI on your time.
Yep.
But now you have the time. So, but not only do you get back 2.5 hours a week, it took you 8 hours to build the first one. Well, now it only takes 4 hours to build the second one because you can clone it, you can tweak it, but now you're familiar with the interface and the buttons. And so now the next thing is now you save another 30 minutes a day. So now you're saving 5 hours a week. You have two things running. Now, so the third week, it only takes you 2 hours to make the third workflow. And that one saves you an hour a day in and of itself because now you're getting some wisdom, some knowledge. You're 3 weeks into this, working hard, figuring stuff out. You're getting back 5 hours a week. Now you're getting back, 10 hours a week, a full day, forever. Now you're excited. Now you're like, what else can I automate?
Mm-hmm.
What else can I build? Where else are there inefficiencies in my business? Okay. And so I did that for almost 20 years, helping people. I did it for myself first, then I've been helping people. Now it's just doing with different types of AI tools, but it's way more. Most people just use AI as like a personal Google.
Yeah. I say
Okay.
that
And that's
often is
fine.
that one of the biggest downsides of the non-believers, if you want to call them that, is that they picked up Chat GPT at the end of 2023, sometime in 2024, and they said, where should I get sushi tonight? And it returned with three local restaurants, and they're like, I don't get what all the fucking hype is about, man. It's like Google search. Bah, they set it down. They haven't touched it since. And they don't understand that you can connect it to your Gmail and it can read your emails, your inbox, all the time, right? It's like it's not just a like one-time workflow that happens in the beginning of the morning. It's like no, it can webhook every time a new email comes in, and it can read that email, and then it can put it in the folder that you need it to and organize it so that when you get your eyes on your inbox, you're only looking at the stuff that's most important, like what you're
Yeah.
talking about, right? Buying real time back. And there is a difference because I think there's also, you'll appreciate this because you've been in the game so long. There is a lot of people that are, because they have AI to help them build automations now, they're building automations and they're like, I'm using AI to automate my business. And it's like, it's not agentic workflows. You're just now able to build workflows because you can tell the chat bot to do it and it goes in the back end and builds it all, right? From the code. And so I see that a lot as well. As like, I use an AI bot to, build out an email autoresponder. It's like, yeah, but it's still a static email that goes out, right? The difference is like old school. What guys, if you're listening to this right now, it's like what Wes is talking about. It's like build an email autoresponder for say onboarding your customers, right? Closed a client, you got 10 emails that they need to get that tells them more about your story to get them really, it's that second sell as we call it, right? To get them to stick. You got some resources that they need to have from you and some checkpoints. Okay, that would all in the past 20 years would be standardized emails. Now, using agentic workflows, you can launch sub agents that would do research that says, okay, Wes just signed up with me. Let's go find him online. Let's look at his social media profiles. Oh, he's a Seattle Seahawks fan. Well, our first email is going to talk about the Seahawks game that was last night. And the subject line, instead of saying, welcome to Carroll Media, it's going to say, how about them Seahawks? But that's still our first onboarding email, right? Like, I think that's what I get most excited about, West, is the infinite amount of like personalization and customization that comes with this agentic workflow. Because the only way you've been able to do that before is like if, dude, you were just banging out all the onboarding emails one by yourself, right? Which is like, gouge my fucking eyes out. No thanks. And so I just want to like caution the audience, like, kudos. I'm not saying don't automate. Like you should automate. That technology, like Wes is here telling you guys, this shit's been around for 20 years. So if you're still sleeping on that, like you're late to that game already. But like using the AI agents to actually do agentic workflows, that's a whole new game that's really just came around within the last couple of years. That I think is changing business, the way that people do business forever. Right? It's like the post.com, man. Yeah, sure, there was a bubble that was in the financial markets, right? The internet corrected on stock prices. We didn't all just go like, oh, well, there was a bubble. Now nobody uses the internet again. No, what happened with
Yeah,
the internet?
let's go
It
back to
got,
fax machines and
yeah, yeah, right. And so like the
fountain
internet,
pens, writing
the,
with a
the
feather. Yeah, we didn't do any of
bingo,
those.
the internet got faster and cheaper, right? Like I got 400 meg internet from a T-Mobile 5G hotspot that cost me $50 a month now. Like
Yeah,
that was unheard of 10 years ago. You needed a
yeah.
T1 line ran into your like office to be able to get that, right? So
T1s, ISDN. People
it
don't
was
even
all
know what those are.
exactly, man. So like it's just crazy. And I think you're giving very sage advice here that is like you've got to figure this out, right? Because
Well, but here's the warning, right? In all this, and this is why you still need an old gray-haired guy that drinks coffee and knows things. Is you know if 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 I've got a big, huge bowl of cookie dough, and I drop one little rat turd into that big bowl, do you want to eat any of those cookies?
not at all.
Right? It's just one little tiny turd. It's going to be baked. It'll sterilize it, right? But
Quite the analogy we're going on here.
okay. Well, here's the deal. When you overdo this personalization and hyper connectivity and blah blah blah, as soon as the prospect thinks, and you weren't even trying, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? Do they take offense? Do they think you were manipulating them with too much personalization, trying to come off like you were a real human doing all this? They're going to be offended and block you and disconnect. So you've got to figure out the right mix of AI and humanization. In an ideal world, you're using this stuff to bubble this up. Hey, how about that game? Who's your favorite Seahawks player? Blah blah. Hey, let's if you can track intent, you see them bubble up, then you truly reach out as a human. Call them, text them, send them a DM on LinkedIn or whatever. As a human, bust this phone out, take a 13-second video. Hey, Mark, how about them Seahawks, man? I look forward to catching up with you. Let me know how I can help. Hit send. So if you can use these tools to make you more human, I keep saying humanity is the next killer app.
Hmm.
You've got to figure this stuff out in that regard. But again, the E-myth, most entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, they don't even think in terms of these touches and outreaches.
Right. Yeah.
So they're going to use the LLM that's going to just read everybody else's stuff. So now your outreach is going to have the same cadence, same pace, the same cues as everybody else, because these LLMs, these large language models, they're just computers. It's just math. They're getting trained on what's out there. And so they're building damn near the same stuff. If you take two chefs, put them in, their own little separated kitchens, but the same ingredients, say, make me a cookie, you're going to get pretty much identical cookies. And so what are you going to do to stand out, to differentiate? What's the one little thing? Oh, extra raisins, extra chocolate chips. I mean, what are you going to do that makes you stand apart from all this? So it's still, because it's like catfishing, right? I don't know how people date today. Good grief, all these filters and stuff. I bet dudes and women are going on dates going, like they see a guy,
Oh yeah.
hey, Mary, I'm Joe, I'm your date. Like they're pulling up their phone, they're like, no, these are different people.
Yeah.
No, it's really me. It's like they're going to be pissed off. And look, years ago, I saw this. There was a sales trainer in the UK, and he had a red phone in his name on LinkedIn. And so I was like, okay, that kind of stands out. That kind of pops. So I got the same little red phone, put it in my first name. And I started noticing I got all these emails and DMs and texts. It goes, hi, Wes, asterisk, question mark, exclamation point, bracket. But, that little emoji wasn't being rendered in these email tools. And so I started realizing, oh, shit, my name is scraped all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming. The only place I do that is on LinkedIn. Okay. And LinkedIn got bought by Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally 90% of the communication I get, LinkedIn, text, email, hi, West Dash, I delete 90% of those just right off the bat. And if I have a moment, I'll skim through, but my fingers hovering over the delete. And, 1 out of 1,000 I might engage with. That seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I know right off the bat, it's a lie, And so
I think if you look at the timeline though, it's like no automation, no follow-up, no sequence, right? No customer journey at all, right? Like that's that HVAC company I'm talking about. It's got 9,000 contacts, never once had sent an email. I showed them, I'm like, guys, watch this. It takes fucking 10 minutes. Like, hey, spring's around the corner. We running a special because you're on our email list, half off a spring tune-up. Dude, they booked 26 of them off of one email, right? Because it's what I call a virgin list, which is like the most beautiful thing in the world. Like if you've never sent an email, like holy shit. But here's the other thing of that. In the middle, I think you have some of this human outbound, right? So they're doing it. But this is where I think the AI actually changes the game, man, because it's what you're alluding to here is like if you can get those signals and not just the noise. I had a guy email me yesterday and he's like, hey, DJ, checked you out on LinkedIn. Love what you're doing with Carroll Media. We have this anonymous website or this website traffic de-anonymizer. It could help you, blah, blah, blah. I emailed him back. I said, bro, did you even look at my fucking website? Go to carroll.media/detect. We have that. It's part of what Allie does. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the dude wasted his time doing outbound. And that's where it's like one of those things where where's that happy medium at? I also just think that the buyers of the future are going to expect you to use AI in your business to make their experience better, right? Like,
Sure.
I know right now everybody can think of a time where they wanted to buy something, they couldn't buy it online from the person, right? And so like it was like, ugh, I just want to put my order in, right? And that's the internet. That's like the 1.0 version. And I did this with a blueberry farm out of New Jersey. We bought some blueberry. I live on a farm in Kentucky. I wanted to buy some blueberry plants. They had great prices. I searched all over their website, and it's always like call, call, call. I called the lady and I was like, hey, kind of weird. You guys don't have like an online form. She's like, oh, we're just a small family business. I was like, all right, whatever. Like, this is what I need. You know, I need 80 plants. And she's like, okay, well, it'll be 900, whatever. I was like, cool. Do you guys take Amex? She was like, oh, no, no, no. Like, you've got to go get like a money order or certified check, and I'll
Yeah.
give you an address. You mail it to us. Once we receive that, then we'll ship them out. I was like, I'm not going to do that. She was like, excuse me? I was like, I'm not taking an hour out of my day to go get you a money. Like, I'll just pay more to the next vendor that's going to have worse prices, but is easier for me. And I'll do the whole form fill online. Right. And so I think there is this like changing of the guard, if you will, where, hey, man, if your follow up is trash, it takes me forever to get a hold of you. I would just rather you give me your AI agent so that it makes it easier on me. If
Oh,
it's a good
agreed.
experience, right? If the thing is terrible, it trips over itself, and it's a bad experience, well, that's business 101. Bad customer service is going to kill your business faster than anything else. But I do think that there is somewhere along this line in the happy median, because I'm glad you get use out of out of LinkedIn, man. I know a lot of my business professional buddies that like use LinkedIn. I can't fucking stand it, dude. Every time I log in, there's 27 new messages. It's all, disguised, hey,
I
and love
didn't
what
say
you
I get a
do.
lot of you. I
Oh,
just
okay.
said I've been on it, dude. They sent me an email years ago. I was one of the first 100,000 users.
Oh, shit.
So I've got a group with about 14,000 members. So that's what keeps me kind of over
Yeah, I
there.
mean that works for
Uh,
you then. But you probably get a ton of spam like DMs in,
oh
right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's it's so bad. And most of the messages are just telling me how to get business with LinkedIn, and they're all just using automation. And look, LinkedIn is dirty, dude. Okay, because they've deplatformed a couple companies,
Oh,
that violated their terms of service, but there's still plenty of others. And I saw one. It's been a couple of months now, but somebody was saying, "Oh, here's my stack," and talking about LinkedIn automation and tagging the company that helps them do that. And I'm like, you're literally bragging. There was a dude I just saw. He walked across the stage getting his college diploma and had his laptop out, like, thanks AI. I didn't even read the whole thing. I think he was
wow.
saying, like, yeah, AI got me my degree. So it's like I might take that degree back from that kid. But anyway, people are literally saying I use these tools that exist solely to violate the terms of service of LinkedIn, and they're posting it on LinkedIn.
That's wild.
So
What a time to be alive. Where do you think where do you think this goes, man, over the next I wouldn't even ask you 10 years. If we can just like maybe say towards the end of the decade, right? Like if we're saying in the next 3 to 4 years, where do you think this ends up?
I literally have no idea. I literally sent that text 2 days ago to my friends. I'm like, I said, dude, what's the purpose of humans in the next 2 years? My son lives up in the Bay Area, and I called him and talked to him about it. And he says, yeah, he says the whole Bay Area is having this existential crisis right now. It's like, where does this go? Because like AI is not going away, and so it's just going to be people that have mastered and those who haven't. I mean, like one good attorney with one competent attorney
Right?
that understands technology can 10x their business in the next year
Yeah.
by using this. Okay, I am creating content, reports, presentations, analyses for clients, for bigger clients, government clients, uh, in in one day that would have taken 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, without it. Uh, and so it's just the old adage used to be that the C students hire the B students to manage the A students. Okay, and that's going to be more true than ever. The people that jump in and harness this, uh, it's they're going to be the ones calling the shots. And I'm literally looking around like, what is safe? I mean, I got 7 kids, I got 4 grandkids. I'm like, what world am I giving them? What are they
Yeah.
stepping into? Um, what is safe from this? And like in many ways, like nothing, right? You go, oh, the trades. Well, I mean, the
For now.
trades affect, the internet affected the trades, maybe in how they're found, how prices are quoted. An HVAC company needs a website. Yeah, robot can't yet go out and install a water heater,
Right.
but
Yet is being the key.
that's coming.
Oh yeah.
That's coming. It may take a decade. Okay, that's fine. Just like paying 15 grand for a website in 1998, is it worth it? Right. So you may have to spend 50 grand to buy a robot, or 100 grand to buy a robot today. But is it worth it? I don't know. But whoever is leaning into this, because we stand on the shoulders of giants. There's always some gray-haired guy that drinks coffee and complains. Well, I used to, I didn't have Chat GPT. I didn't have, a Facebook group when I was learning Infusionsoft. I had to figure it out on my own. Like, yeah, okay,
Back in my
uh,
day.
yeah, but my dad didn't have the internet at all to learn how to insulate. So we always have some kind of something that makes our lives easier and better, more comfortable, more convenient. So who is going to master that?
Mm,
Um, so, but dude, I've been in this kind of really a bit of a funk for years. Like, what is happening? There's
yeah.
so much technology rolling out so fast, and now it's just getting faster. Because over the years, Infusionsoft kind of stumbled and they became Keep and they got bought. HubSpot stock is down 70 something percent from their peak. I don't know how they're going to make it, but everything breathes, right? It goes. I remember my dad, he was a musician and he had this home stereo system he built, and it was all different components, JBL speakers and I don't know, a Kenwood amp and whatever, a different turntable. I was like, like this, they sell a kit, right? He's like, but he was a purist, right? He got the best of each component.
Mm.
And so, well, then the boom box came out. Now we got iPhones. And so, but now we're going back. I got a Bluetooth turntable over here. Okay. So things kind of ebb and flow. So like, you know, HubSpot and Infusionsoft, hey, it's all in one. Stop piecing these things together. Put everything in one place. Pay for convenience. Get support. One throat to choke. Like, amen. Let's go. But then you find out that they weren't truly all in one. You needed additional tools. And then all these companies got freaking lazy. They just charged more and more money for less and less features because they could, because you were stuck. These apps
Yeah.
were sticky on purpose. You get
Yep.
all your data in there, you got all these workflows in there. It's like, yeah, it doesn't do this or that, but man,
Switching
like
cost.
where do you live? Right? There's some road noise. They've built a freeway close, but golly, price of housing. I got a 2.5% interest rate. We're just gonna have to suck it up. I'll just put in, I'll pay 10 grand and put soundproof windows. It's not
Yeah.
worth moving.
30
Okay.
years worth of shit that you don't want to pile into a U-Haul, right?
Yes.
'Cause, like that's
So
that
it's
switching cost, right? It makes
yeah.
that's made
So
it super
they're
sticky.
sticky. But dude, think we're getting to the point now with AI. We're back to getting the best of each thing,
Yes.
and you got to orchestrate them. You got to understand the workflow and where does the lead come in, what's your email system? Because dude, I use some kind of eccentric sort of tools, but some of these they're the best of the best, but they're a little hard to use on the front end. They're missing some features, but I'm looking at deliverability. I'm looking at ease of use. But then they're not super convenient. They're not super sexy with landing pages and stuff. So I needed a coder to make some landing pages for me. Dude, I'm just grabbing the raw code. I throw it into Manus, build me a page. Here's the web form. Boom, boom, boom. 5 minutes later, I got this beautiful landing page. The web form is integrated. The API is popping. I'm like, It
Yeah.
would have taken me a week, and I have to assign it to one of my VAs to do all that for me. Now I'm
And they're
doing
going to
it
come back.
personally.
Most importantly, Wes, they're going to come back to you 4 different times with questions that wasn't
Yes.
given to them in the original, build specs, right? They're going to have, well, what if we did this instead of that, right? And so like that
Yep.
delays it. I think you're touching on something right now that is massive, is that the ideation used to lay in the founder's box, right? But then you would give it to the project manager, who could then give it to the VAs, and then they would run sprints and they would bring you fit. Like, dude, all of that's getting flattened, and now the founder can go from ideation to proof of concept, or even true, like, market ready to roll product in no time. The other thing that I think is happening is that the world is waking up to the fact that, like, all of these softwares are nothing more than a UI UX for a database, right? Like, everything's inside of a database. And so it's like, you have a nice little drag and drop form, because if I said, here, Wes, here's our email automation tool, and it's built in a Google sheet that is across 17 tabs at the bottom and 400 rows and 600 columns, you'd be like, dude, I mental capacity, I can't handle this. But what's happening is, I think that UI UX is going away, and you're just going to tell your AI agent, hey, here's my API keys to the tools that you need. Like, you manage the database, because it's like, no problem. I got a million token context window now.
Yeah. Well, but yes to all of that, right? And here's the problem. It, you need that jump master to shove your ass out of the airplane, though. Okay. At some point, you got to pull the trigger and ride the bullet. And so you need some neutral third party to help you figure out the next steps. When is good enough? When is bad enough? Like, stop going down that path. Okay. My tech guy, he pushes back on me, because he needs like clear specs. I'm like, dude, we're gonna sell an idea, then we're gonna go build it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not gonna spend 2 weeks coding some shit that there's not a market for. Just because I have an idea
Yeah.
doesn't mean we go build it. If I
Yeah.
have an idea, I'm gonna go see if I can sell it. If I can sell it, then we'll go build it. Okay, so you got to figure out this balance. But most people, like Henry Ford said, if I asked the customer what they wanted, they would say a faster horse.
Yep.
Okay. A caveman does not know what a 747 is. So they can't even dream it. And it's not that the caveman is dumb or evil or whatever. They're just, the caveman is in a cave.
Yeah.
And most entrepreneurs, dude, they are literally in caves.
Yeah. I think this
You
is
know,
why Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, recently said that in the future, the winners are going to be the ADHD, dyslexic, autistic winner. Like, they're going to be the people that win, because you just have to look at the world differently, because it is different now. To be able to wrap your head around the fact that you can open up Claude Code and tell it to do something start to finish, and it will go build it. People open up the terminal window and they're like, I'm out. It's like, well, welcome to the new case split in the economy, because this happened with the internet, right? There were small business owners. There were people like my dad who said, I'm not going to learn computers. I'm not getting an email address. Well, guess what, dude? Your topside net worth and your topside earnings potential just got capped, right? There was a case split in the economy, and then the exact same thing is happening, I think, right now with AI. And so I think you're spot on, Wes. Is like, you got to jump, man, because I don't know what the guarantee up is on that case split, but I can tell you what the guaranteed downside is on that case split, right? Which is, it's like, now time's a ticking until you're obsolete.
yeah. Well, and it, this has always been the case, right? Our customers buy confidence. Okay, selling is a transference of a feeling. That feeling is confidence. Zig Ziglar said that 60 years ago. And so when our prospects, yeah, my brother-in-law is the best hands-on guy you'll ever meet. He has built us the finest furniture, cabinets, countertops, plumbing. He can build anything. He used to work for Guidant before it was Abbott. When they had an idea, well, we're going to build a new heart stent. He would make the fucking machine that would make the stents.
That's wild.
Okay. 30 years ago. No college degree. He's just fucking smart. Okay. But he's not a salesman. He's not a marketer. This whole AI stuff, web design, email sequences, he's like, I'm not touching that.
Yep.
Okay. So he doesn't know what's possible. Same thing. He walks into my house, and we've been here 16 years. He walks in and he sees things in 4 dimensions. Oh man.
Yep.
The sliding thing here, cabinets here. I can build this out. This will be hidden. This will be flush. Push a button. Like I can't. I'm like, yeah, do all that. I would never, unless I see a Pinterest story,
Pinterest board. Yeah.
right? I would never think of that stuff. He automatically, by default, thinks of that, and he can build it. Okay. So if you don't know something, it doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you're ignorant. Right? That's different. That means you are unaware of a thing, but now you're made aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need somebody you can trust. But same thing. We hired contractors. We hired this one guy, build this outdoor kitchen. He fucked it up. We had to, we were trying to save money, and the guy that we knew and liked said, "Well, my cousin does it. I'll send him over. Kind of cut you a deal." Well, the cousin had to come back and fix what his cousin couldn't do. So. Do you trust the people that are giving you the advice to do this stuff? So that's still the dilemma. Can you instill that confidence so the people go with you? So you've still got to reach these people. And, I had a call just before this. I've got my new tech guy here that he's local, and I'm working with him. Super smart, crazy technical smart. And he can't sell. He's talking right over the cell, and I'm having to interrupt him. Like, let's not go down that path. He literally couldn't give away the thing we just built to somebody that needs it. I'm like, let's reset. Unfortunately, this is with a friend of mine. She's local. She's been a client and a friend, and I'm telling her straight up, I'm teaching this guy how to shift from employee for a big company software developer to supporting entrepreneurs, to being entrepreneurial supporting entrepreneurs. So I've got a safe little test run. So you need that mix. You need technical people, but you need people that see the vision. You need people that can implement the vision, and get shit done. But that means you have to launch. I've got a little booklet I showed Michael the other day. I think it's from Seth Godin, but just ship it. Ship it. It'll never be perfect.
Yeah. Perfection never arrives.
I'm like, dude, we got to launch.
That's right.
And okay, it's not perfect. We'll call it a beta launch. We'll call it a soft launch. We'll tell everybody, hey, this is version 1. It's going to be $1,000. Everybody gets in now. You get it for half price. Help us work out the bugs. $500 for the first 10 people. Get some people, make some sales so it's real. Get some use cases. Get some feedback, because you're only going to know so much. That's
Product
why communism doesn't work. Like 10 people think they know what 300 million people need. It's like, well, good luck with that, asshole. Push the decisions down to the end users. Push them down as far as you can. And let the feedback bubble back up. So that's all hard, man. AI helps all this, but man, at the end of the day, we're still humans. We're all cavemen, and deep down in our amygdala, our lizard brain. A lot of that hasn't changed in a million years. So
it's
better
true.
be talking to that part of your prospects.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, perfection never arrives, but unfortunately, we have arrived at the end of this podcast. Wes, this has been fun, man. It went by way too fast. If people want to find you online, dude, how do they look you up?
So I've got a new domain. I'm rebranding everything as well. So and people can't spell the Sales Whisperer, so it's now just Wes. FixerWes.com. So
yeah, WES.
I'm eating my own dog food. Yeah, I'm building that with Manus. So still some broken things here and there, but I don't give a shit. It works.
Yeah.
I'm learning it as I go, so I can talk to it. But yeah, everything's there, and you can find me online. I'm easy to find, and I do not use AI to reply. So if you hear from me, it's me.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, thanks for being on the Sales Factory, guys. If you made it this far, I appreciate you hanging out through the whole episode. Please make sure to leave a review, like, comment, share, so that we can get this episode in front of more entrepreneurs and help more people. As I always say, the government's never showed up and saved anybody I know. It's the entrepreneurs of the world that create all the solutions. Until next time, I'm Coach Carroll. This has been another episode of the Sales Factory. Hustle, it's worth it.